Good morning, everyone. Well, at least it's morning here. This is my first podcast that I'm recording live, or as in a video. In the past, or the only one I've ever done, it was audio only. Figured I'll give it a shot, see if I like it. Still trying to figure out how to make this work. The topic today, well, before I get to the main topic, which I'm going to talk about the new California law that allows student athletes to accept endorsements and make money off their name. Uh, I want to quickly address another issue. And you may know from if you have seen my only other podcast, I do this where I like to address a random topic that's on my head. I don't know if that's going to be consistent, but that's what I'm doing so far. The random topic today actually has to do with the 2016 election polling. One myth that's been out there is that the polls got it wrong. Historically, polls were great, and in this one election, they got it wrong, and that's a Trump phenomenon. And there's some level of truth to the Trump phenomenon that it was not measured properly, it was tough to measure. But the polls actually did not get it wrong. Um, One thing to note is right after Comey came out with the memo stating that the investigation into Hillary Clinton has been opened again. That was, I think, a few days before the actual election. The the last polls that came out right before the election came after that announcement, and all of a sudden you saw a dramatic drop in the difference between Hillary and Trump. And so, some polls actually did have Trump winning, but most polls still had Hillary winning by 1 or 2 points. But there's usually a 5 point margin of error. So that meant that every single poll, if not every single, but most of the polls had Trump winning within the margin of error. So just to be clear, the polls did not get it wrong. Now the polls prior to that Comey announcement, did have Trump losing the election and Hillary winning the election. So I just want to clarify. I don't want people to think somehow math is has failed us finally, even though it's been correct historically. Math was correct. Math won again. Numbers still don't lie. Okay, so the topic for today, California's new law, which is a legislation that was recently passed. It's called California's Fair Pay to Play Act. Now, it's not athletes actually getting paid to be student athletes. It's not the colleges paying them. What it's what it's allowing colleges to do in California is to allow their athletes to go out and hire agents who are properly approved agents, and any, not some random uncle, which we all know they try to do that, in the state of California, to go out and get endorsement deals. Now we all know the primary issue there still is that look, all athletes are still not being compensated, and that's the primary discussion. I'm not going to comment on where I land in that debate, but I will comment on what's happening legally now. So these agents can go out, whether it's a softball player, whether it's a basketball player, they can go out and get endorsement deals for these student athletes, which is great, great start. Second thing to keep in mind is this law actually does not kick in till 2023, January 1, 2023. So that's way out there, which means NCAA is going to have an opportunity to litigate this. They're going to file action. In the past, they had success in not a similar issue, but what they raised essentially was the Commerce Clause, which is that this was a Commerce Clause violation by the state of California, where the Commerce Clause essentially says that, look, the federal government gets to control how commerce is done from one state to another, but if a state tries to gain an unfair advantage, then by passing some law, then that particular law can be overruled or can be reduced or can be changed. So that's what we're dealing with here. So that's the type of challenge the NCAA is likely to make. And to elaborate on why that's proper in this scenario, is because when California enacts, so when this goes into play in 2023, they're going to have, I wouldn't even say arguably, they're going to have an unfair advantage over other universities and in other states. A student athlete looks at it, whether a student athlete is rich, poor, wherever they come from. But the fact that, hey, even if I can make a few grand off my name, if I'm just, if I'm not even on one of the primary sports that make money, whether it's volleyball, softball, maybe I can still sell a few T-shirts. Maybe I can still cut a couple of deals, a couple of appearances, and people will pay for that. That can very well happen. Uh, so athletes are going to, if in the past they weren't planning on it, look at California more. So other states know this. They're going to follow. They're already following route. I know New York has proposed a bill, and other states are going to follow to say, look, we need to pass something because in 2023 California is going to get all the good athletes. We need to get those athletes to our state. So they're going to have to react. They have to respond. I wouldn't be surprised if every single state passed something. So that plays into NCAA's hand. That look, now we as an organization where commerce is done across state lines now have all these various rules that are not consistent with each other. Meaning California may have this one rule, New York may have a rule that says, look, here the student athletes should also get paid by the universities. So they should get paid for amount of tickets they're selling, a percentage of that tickets they're selling, something along those lines. Obviously, that's very tough to actually put into a legislation and really work it out, but you get the idea. There's going to be various different type of bills passed. So that's going to be NCAA's challenge, and they're going to have a legitimate argument. Now the question becomes whether the federal government is going to step in and pass something to kind of unify these rules. And I know the current administration, they like to follow Twitter, they like to follow social media. So if they feel like this is a popular move, they may pass federal legislation making this all consistent. It remains to be seen. Once again, everyone, thank you. I hope at least two people listen to this. That's my goal, two people. You know, so hopefully two people do listen to it. Thank you.